everybody, welcome to another video. My name is Infiniti and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to do the join as you go method with corner to corner crochet. It's actually really easy. It's much easier than I thought it was when I first embarked on that little journey. And here recently I remembered about the technique and I just kind of wanted to show it off, and I also wanted to make a project with this stitch. This is going to be a blanket eventually. I kind of kept in tune with the corner to corner spirit here, so I'm building up stair steps with these different colors, and I'm enjoying the process. So while I had a free square, I thought that I would just go ahead and show you guys how to do it. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into the tutorial. So when you're doing this join as you go method, when you start off, you're going to start off with your basic square of corner to corner or rectangle of corner to corner, whichever shape you've made. Alright, and so once you've completed that and you have your square, what you're going to want to do is grab your other color that you want to join and create, and you're going to find just an empty corner on your pre-made square, as I have now. Now some people do slip knots and some people don't. I personally do the slip knot on this one. So I'm just going to make a slip knot and connect my color here. And I'm just going to pull it through like that. Alright, and then I'm going to chain up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this mimics the traditional corner to corner square. Alright, so as you would normally do with a corner to corner square, what you're going to do is yarn over, and you are going to double crochet in that 4th chain from your hook. And make a double crochet. Alright, and then you are going to double crochet into the next 2 chains that we have going on here. There's 1. And then there's 2. Alright, so now that we have our first little square, what we want to do is come and find this space here between our little corner to corner squares. So some people go straight through the stitch. If you can do that, that's fine. If you can't, then you can just go straight into the little space between there with a slip knot. I like going through the stitch itself, but sometimes with my tension I do it too tight and it's kind of impossible to do. So I end up going with the latter option. Now you're just going to slip stitch into that, and this connects our first square to our previously existing square, and then we can move on. So now what we're going to do is chain up 3. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to find that next kind of space between our blocks from our previous square. So I have mine here, and what we're going to do is we're just going to slip knot into that, slip stitch into that, and what this does, it creates the base for our next little square that we're going to do for our corner to corner. So now we're going to chain up 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to turn our work. Alright, and then you're going to yarn over, and you are going to double crochet 3 times underneath that little chain space we just made here. There's 1, there's 2. And then there's 3. Alright, and then you're going to slip stitch into that chain 3 space from the previous block we made, just like you normally would when you're expanding your corner to corner. And you're going to chain up 3, and then you're going to go ahead and make those 3 double crochet in that same chain 3 space. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Alright, and this is what it looks like so far. How neat is that? So now what we're going to do is we're going to chain up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So much like in regular corner to corner crochet, that outside chain, you're always going to end up doing 6 chains, and then the only difference is on this side you end up doing 3 because you did the slip stitch in that little chain space down here. So okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to turn our work again. Your swatches are probably smaller than mine. Alright, and we are going to yarn over and double crochet into the 4th chain from our hook. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to yarn over and work into him. Double crochet into the next chain. And a double crochet into the next chain. Alright, we're going to slip stitch into that chain 3 space. We're going to chain up 3, and then we are going to just go ahead and work our 3 double crochet into the same chain space. So 1, 2, and 3. Alright, and then we are going to slip stitch into the next chain 3 space. So as you can see, this is almost pretty much just like normal corner to corner crochet. You're just doing it along the side or along the top of one of your patches. That's really all it is. Alright, making that last double crochet, and again we're going to find one of those chain spaces. Mine is here, and this time I'm just going to slip stitch into, oh no, I got through the stitch, cool. Just make a slip stitch. Now the only reason I go into the actual stitch is because it looks neater as opposed to just going into the chain space, plus it doesn't create kind of unnecessary or bulky gapping between my squares on my previous patch, so I kind of like that. But again, it's perfectly fine if you can't work into that. I also have tight tension, or alternatively you could use a smaller hook when it comes to doing your slip stitch, and that should be just perfectly fine. Alright, so I chained up 3, and I'm going to slip stitch into that next space there. Wow, I must have really been conscious while I was doing this one, because I can get into all my stitches. Alright, so basically what I'm going to do is continue to expand across the width of my base square here. So of course I have like 3 more squares to go on this row. So I'll just end up working those out. I won't make you sit through that whole process after this though. So I'm going to chain up 3 and turn, and I am going to work underneath that chain 3 space that we just made, and I'm going to work 3 double crochets in that. Doing my last chain 3 here. I'm going to work 3 double crochets into that same chain space. Oops. Alright, and so I have come to another outside edge, as I call it. So this is where I'll be chaining 6, and working down my row, and when I get ready to connect, probably help if I zoom out. Alright, so I'm going to work down my little stair steps here, and when I get ready to connect, I will be joining like right in this space here, and then working back up, and so on until I get to this last square here. And once you reach your last square, you can meet me back and I will show you guys how to work up the other way. Coincidentally, I ended up accidentally making rectangles, and I really don't know how I did it. I know how I did it, but I didn't intend for it to be rectangles. I intended for these to be squares, but you know, it happens. So anyway, I'll meet you guys back when I am ready to start decreasing my shape. Alright, so as you can see, I have gotten to the last little square section from my previous row, and I'm ready to join and connect. So I'm just going to do that. Just go ahead and slip stitch that together. Okay, so now clearly I need to start going back the other way and decreasing. So what I like to do is to chain one, and I turn my work. Now some people can do the whole slip stitch thing without chaining, but I don't prefer to do that. So anyway, I'm just going to slip stitch my way into each of the stitches along this square that I just completed. Just go ahead and do that last one into that chain space. Alright, now that I've done that, I can chain up 3. So 1, 2, 3. And now I can start back going the other way as I normally would. So I'm just going to yarn over and create my double crochets into that chain space. 2 and 3. Oops. Alright, and slip stitch. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to work into that same chain space that we just chained 3 from. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, probably help if I move my yarn over. Alright, let's chain up 3 again. Going to work into that chain space. And we're just doing the same thing all the way up our little stair steps, or at least I like to call them stair steps. Alright, now it's time to work back down again. So let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so most of my blocks are between 7 and 8 squares tall, so that's why I counted up the side there. So I'm going to now again decrease in this row. So again, chaining my 1, just kind of slip stitching into each of these stitches across here. There's 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to slip stitch into that chain 3 space. And this is where I like to turn my work to the side so I can kind of fiddle with it. Alright, and I'm going to chain up 3, so 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to proceed to work my 3 double crochet into that chain space, and I just begin to work down as I would a normal corner to corner square. So this technique really isn't that hard, and like I said, I don't know why I haven't done this tutorial in the past. It's super easy, and you can get a lot of really interesting and unique designs out of it. People sometimes use smaller squares and rectangles to create graph gans, which I find really charming, and it's just a nice little switch up from your typical corner to corner pattern. The only downside to this method is just like the strings. I hate weaving in my ends. You can let me know if you also dislike weaving in your ends, or if you like weaving in your ends. I personally just don't. Like, that's the worst part of finishing certain types of projects for me, is weaving in those ends. Alright, slip stitch. Alright, now that I have reached that final square, like I said, at these points I will chain my little one and turn my work, and I will begin slip stitching across the tops of the stitches that I just made. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch into that chain space, and now I can chain my 3, and I can continue to decrease my rectangle here. So I'm going to keep doing that, and I'll meet you guys back when I am almost at the end. Alright, so now I have just made up my last square for this rectangle, and now I can just slip stitch into that chain 3 space. And with these, and really any corner to corner that I do, I always like to turn my work and like slip stitch into a couple of normal stitches. I think it looks neater once I bind off. I've been knitting so much lately. I've gone into full knitting terminology. I apologize. Alright, then I can just snip my yarn and tug that guy kind of tight, and voila. Alright, so you can see that I have successfully joined a new piece of corner to corner to an existing one, and it looks pretty nice. I don't know what inspired me to do this with these 2 colorways. It is just 2 colorways, but you will eventually be able to see the finished product over on my Instagram, so if you're not following me over there, head on over and check me out. I think the next time I come on and do a corner to corner tutorial, I'll show you guys how I work a piece into a section like this, because I did do that down in here somewhere with this block. Actually, I did it with this centerpiece. So that's another tutorial for another time. I hope today's video was helpful for you. So if so, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. That lets me know that you want to keep seeing more content like this. Also, don't forget to check me out on my other social media. I'm on pretty much everything except for TikTok and Snapchat, so I have a little something out there for everybody. Like I said, head on over to Instagram. We're almost at 400 people, and I'm so excited to have that audience over there. And I'm always posting goofy stuff like reels and just behind the scenes stuff over there, so check me out. Also, for more crochet tips, tricks, tutorials, patterns, and the like, you can check out my blog, which is always linked in my description down below. And until next time, guys, happy making.